Hey, it's Doug with Backcountry Pilgrim. Today we're going to be talking about collapsible trekking poles. What is their point and is it worth it? For several years now, I have been using Foxelli trekking poles. They're a budget brand that I got pretty early on, but that I've had quite a bit of luck with. This is their carbon pole. This is the one that I hike with the most, as you can tell by the color of the cork handle here. But recently, Foxelli reached out to me and wanted to know if I would check out their collapsible trekking poles, and not having used them very often before, I decided to go ahead and do it. And I want to thank Foxelli for sending me these poles and sponsoring this video. Now, I'm not going to spend any time going over how to use trekking poles or what they're for. I've done that in other videos, and what I want to focus on now is this particular type of trekking pole, which comes in multiple pieces and collapses down very small. Now, this, I think, has some pretty obvious benefits. These poles can fit in a lot of places that non-collapsible trekking poles cannot. I can get these in the pocket of my day pack without them extending above the top. I can also get them almost completely in some of the larger pockets on some of my full-size packs, and I can easily carry these on my extra small messenger bag and even on some of my fanny packs. Now, the small form factor of the collapsed pole may be the reason that a lot of people get them, but I have discovered that there is actually a bigger benefit to these collapsible poles than just their size. Simply put, they are a lot easier to deal with than your typical 3-section non-collapsible trekking pole. And that is because these poles assemble by simply pulling down and locking them into place. There is no need for any adjustment because however it was set the last time I used the pole, it's still going to be there because this top section is the adjustable part. And once it's locked, there's no need to change it because this section is actually going to go back inside the pole once you collapse it, keeping you from having to worry about what size it is. Now, with a non-collapsible trekking pole, you generally have 2 binders that you have to do both. You push it all in, clamp them back down, and now you have your collapsed pole, still pretty big. But it's when you set it back up that it becomes a bit of a pain. You have to release and reset each of these sections separately until it is the size that you want. So even if you don't really care so much about the small form factor, the quick setup and breakdown of these poles is just so nice. I can go from collapsed to reset to recollapse in just a matter of seconds, and I can do it without even looking at the pole because I don't have anything I need to set. That setting is going to be there at the time I collapse the pole, and it's going to remain there when I do a reset. Foxelli's aluminum poles are made of a 70-75 aluminum. The non-collapsible aluminum poles run 9.5 ounces, which is 2 ounces less than the collapsible poles, which run 11.5 ounces each. So there is a weight penalty for going with the collapsible poles, and they're going to collapse down to about 2 feet, whereas this little guy here gets down to a mere 14 inches. By the way, if you are interested in any of these Foxelli trekking poles, check out the links in the video description below because I may have a deal for you. Each of the aluminum and carbon come with basically the same setup, just that the shafts are made of different material. Starting from the top, you've got a nice padded strap. You've got an ergonomic cork handle with an extension made of EVA foam. I like this because if I'm going uphill, I can quickly transition without having to change the size of the pole and right back again when I'm walking normally. You've got bindings that are a mix of metal and plastic and a tungsten carbide tip. Foxelli includes an asphalt kind of rolling boot looking thing. You've got mud and snow baskets, and these all come with a case with your poles. As for me, although I didn't really think I would ever go back to aluminum poles, I really like the features of these collapsible poles. They just make it so much easier to store, so much easier to set up and break down. I definitely think on some trips it's going to be worth a couple of extra ounces. Now, there is one factor that you may want to consider, and that is if you are going to be using your trekking poles to set up a tent. There is a difference in how long and short these trekking poles can go, and ironically, the smaller collapsible trekking pole cannot get as small as the non-collapsible pole. While both poles will extend to 135 centimeters or 54 inches, when they collapse down to their smallest load-bearing setting, the collapsible poles will only go down to 117 centimeters or 46 inches, whereas the non-collapsible poles can get down to 62 centimeters or only 24 inches and still work. So if you have a trekking pole tent that requires a trekking pole that can go down smaller than 117 centimeters or 46 inches, you will have to go with something else. So far, the Foxellis have been virtually indestructible. I have beat them against things. I have not treated them very well. I never managed to break any of my Foxelli poles. I've given pairs to friends. They have had similar experiences. I honestly just don't see any reason to go with anything else at this point. And I'm not just saying that because of the millions of dollars Foxelli is paying me to make this video. All right, well, that is it for me. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, why don't you give it a like and subscribe to Backcountry Pilgrim if you are into hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it. Until next time, I'm Doug. Thanks for watching.